This year, it is even bigger and better.
My name is Joel Dadile, the winner of Naija Boss Factor Season 1. Those of you that didn't enroll, I'm sorry, you have missed out big time. You scammed yourself. You think they were trying to scam you.
Register for the Naija Boss Factor Season 2 with the sum of 5,500 Naira payable to GT Bank account number 0561 094 161. Send payment proof to WhatsApp portal number 0901 625 2525. Go to www.bossfm.ng to complete your registration. Call 0808 237 0000 or 0811 584 1500 for more information. Naija Boss Factor Season 2. Celebrate culture, celebrate life. Terms and conditions apply.
Naija Boss Factor Season 1!
It happened last year when we had 7 finalists vying for the grand prize, M Grand 7 2021 model worth 11.
A very good afternoon to you and welcome to Africa Today. I am Peace Ogenegbawe. First, let's talk the headlines. On the headlines, Buhari approves naval base for Oguta. West African force claims rebels killed in Lake Chad. Still on the news, Tunisia's president plans to rewrite constitution. And on sports, Falcons to face South Africa, Burundi, Botswana. Now the news in detail. Nigeria's President Muhammadu Buhari has approved the establishment of a naval base at Oguta in Imo State. This was contained in a statement issued by the Senior Special Assistant on Media and Publicity, Garba Shehu. According to the statement, President Buhari, in his salam message to Muslims and Nigerians in general, commemorating the Eid al-Fitr, also highlighted on the security situation in the country and his administration's efforts at peace and security. On the establishment of the new naval base, the statement said the president approved the establishment of a naval base in Oguta, Imo State. The statement quoted the president as saying the battle waged against terrorism, who falsely masquerade under the name of Islam, is approaching its conclusion. The federal government of Nigeria has warned APM terminals at Apapa and others to adhere to government's freight forwarders' directives on the collection of practitioners' operating fee, which is the POF. Speaking during a meeting between officials at the Ministry of Transportation and Council for Regulatory the Freight Forwarders and Terminal Operators in Lagos over the weekend, Permanent Secretary of the Ministry, Magdalene Ajani, said since the introduction of the policy on February 24, 2021, with terminal operators, some terminal operators have failed to comply with the agreements reached, which has resulted to loss of revenue to the country. Ajani said the ministry could no longer ignore the actions of the terminal operators, explaining that the job of the ministry was to ensure that the government's policies were adhered to. Death toll in the collapsed building at Ebute Metta, Lagos, has risen to 8, with 23 survivors out of the rubble. According to Director, Lagos State Fire Rescue Service, Margaret Adeyeye, who spoke through a spokesman, Shakiru Amodu, 5 more bodies to the 2 earlier confirmed dead were recovered at the early hours of today, making 7 people recovered dead so far. Also, a total number of 23 persons, male and females, including children, were rescued during the operation by men of the Lagos Fire and Rescue Service, Lagos State Emergency Management Agency, that is LASEMA, police and other security operatives, as well as emergency responders. Meanwhile, Nigeria's President Muhammadu Buhari has commiserated with the family of those who died, sustained injuries, and were affected by the building. He prayed for divine assistance in the operations and wished those injured a speedy recovery. The president also expressed his sympathy on Monday through a statement by the Special Advisor on Media and Publicity, Femi Adesina. Delta State government has donated relief materials in victims of tanker explosion at Ohoro Community, Ughelli North Local Government Area of Delta State. Governor Ifeanyi Okowa, who promptly visited the scene of the disaster, assured that the state government would take measures to cushion the effect of the catastrophe on the victims. Representing the relief assistance to the victims in Asaba through the State Emergency Management Agency, that is SEMA, the State Commissioner, Bureau of Special Duties, John Bull Edema, urged the beneficiaries to judiciously use the relief materials. Edema commended the governor for approving and releasing funds for relief assistance to the victims of the horror fire incidents within 3 months. Also speaking, SEMA Director Caro Ovemeso said the gesture was not to compensate the victims for their loss, but to show empathy and support them in their trying times. Recall that explosion, which occurred on January 27, 2022, reportedly claimed 2 lives, destroyed 30 buildings, and other properties worth millions of naira in the community. When the news returns, news from other parts of West Africa, do stay with us. You're still watching Africa Today on Hills TV. Welcome back. Now let's move to other parts of West Africa. The United Nations Chief, Antonio Guterres, has called on military juntas in Burkina Faso, Guinea and Mali to hand over power back to civilians as soon as possible. Speaking after the meeting, Senegalese President Macky Sall said they had agreed on the need to keep talking to the de facto authorities in all countries to get a swift return to constitutional order in Dakar. All 3 countries struggling with a jihadist insurgency in the Sahel. You're welcome back. Now to news from other parts of Africa. As part of its overall activities, Tunisian President Kais Saied has announced plans to rewrite his country's constitution. In a televised Eid address, Saied, who dissolved government and parliament, said a committee would be established to redraft the existing framework and would conclude its work within days. He did not specify how the constitution would be changed, but said it would usher in what he called a new republic. Opponents have accused him of seeking to concentrate all the levers of power on his own hand since he seized power 9 months ago. Guinea's military leader, Colonel Mamadi Doumbouya, has announced a 39-month transition period between the country's return to civil rule. The announcement was made during a speech broadcast on television during the weekend. Doumbouya added that the measure would be subject to the National Transition Council acting as parliament. The announcement followed the creation of what the military leader described as an inclusive consultation framework in April. The resulting conference culminated in a boycott by several prominent political groups, and according to reports, the regional bloc ECOWAS had set last Monday as a deadline for putting forward an acceptable transition timetable or risk economic and financial sanctions. And now to South Africa, where South African President Cyril Ramaphosa has abandoned his Workers' Day speech in the northwest city of Rustenburg on Sunday when striking mine workers stormed the stage. The workers employed by the Simbanye Stillwater mine are demanding a wage increase of 1,000 rands, which is $63 per month, instead of 850 rands, which is $54 being offered by the mine. Ramaphosa had decided to mark Workers' Day, a public holiday in South Africa, on May 1 by giving a speech to union members in Rustenburg, a mining center. However, the president was booed as he started his address with a call for the striking workers and other members of the Congress of South Africa trade unions to calm down and listen to what he had to say. The striking workers have become even angrier in recent days over reports that Simbanye CEO Neil Frontman earned more than 300 million rands, which is $19 million in 2021 in salary payments and company share schemes. Up next is business news on Africa Today. Just stay with us. Welcome back. The International Monetary Fund, that is IMF, has projected that Nigeria's consumer price index will hit 16.1% in 2022. This projection was presented in an illustration in the IMF's Regional Economic Outlook for Sub-Saharan Africa released last week, which was published on its website. The projected 16.1% will be the highest in the country since October 2021, when it was 16.63%. Recent figures from the National Bureau of Statistics showed that Nigeria's consumer price index rose to 15.92% in March. The new rate is the highest the country has recorded, and the rise in the inflation rate in March shows that Nigeria is not left out in the global inflation surge. However, the IMF added that the inflation rate would drop to 13.1% by 2023. Recently, the World Bank said COVID-19 pandemic-induced inflation pushed about 23 million Nigerians into a food crisis in 2021, especially in regions battling conflicts. Prices of fuel have increased again in Burundi for the second time in 3 months, following the announcement made by the government last Thursday. Speaking on television, the minister in charge of energy blamed the increase on external factors. 2 days after the announcement, and consequences were visible on the ground, as well as Saturday long queues in front of petrol stations were visible in the capital, Bujumbura, even though users came to fill up despite the price increase, had to just to avoid the shortage. Meanwhile, taxi drivers and transporters have expressed their fear that the new increase will have an impact on their daily activities, as some stations have run dry. Many vehicles are still waiting to be served. Kenya's President Uhuru Kenyatta has announced an immediate increase in the country's minimum wage by 12% to help workers cope with a surge in consumer prices, driven in parts of the world by the war in Ukraine. This was made known in a statement issued on Sunday by the President's office, quoting him as saying, at Labor Day celebration in the capital, Nairobi, there is a compelling case to review the minimum wage to cushion our workers against further erosion of their purchasing power. The rise, he said, was necessary because the minimum wage had not been reviewed in 3 years and the cost of living has increased. Kenya's minimum wage currently is 13,500 Kenyan shillings, which is $116.68 per month. Inflation in East African country rose to 6.47% year-on-year last month from 5.56% in March. The Statistics Office also said last month the country suffered shortages of fuel, with traffic in some parts of Nairobi coming to a standstill as motorists joined long queues outside petrol stations. We now join Richard Badung on Sport News Today. Do stay with us.
Good afternoon and welcome to Sport News. I'm Richard Badung. On the news, Super Falcons of Nigeria are billed to face rivals South Africa, Burundi and Botswana in Group C at the 2022 Women's Africa Cup of Nations in Morocco. The competition, which is scheduled to hold from July 2 to 23, will serve as a qualification for the 2023 Women's World Cup in Australia and New Zealand in July of 2023. The African champions will be defending the title they won back in 2018 in Ghana when they defeated the Banyana 4-3 on penalties after regulation time and ended goalless. Both nations had faced off in the same group at the last edition of the competition in Ghana, with the Banyana winning by a lone goal. Thembi Kintiana grabbed the winner in the 85th minute. Nigeria faced Botswana in the first game of the competition before squaring up against Burundi, while their first final group game will be against South Africa. The top two countries in each group qualify automatically for the knockout stage, while the two best losing teams in the three groups will also make it to the knockout stage. The 2022 edition of the competition sees the tournament expand from 8 to 12 teams. Confederation of African Football, CAF, has named the Godswill Akpabio International Stadium as the host of the 2022 CAF Champions League final scheduled for Sunday, May 29, 2022. Angola's Atletico Petroles de Luanda will tackle Morocco's Wydad in the first semi-final clash, while Egypt's Al Ahly will be hoping to reach consecutive finals but will have to surpass the hurdles after Algeria's ES Satif in the other semi-final tie. CAF officials had visited the Nest of Champions over 4 weeks ago to inspect the state of the sporting facilities, according to the Senior Special Assistant on Sports to Akwa Ibom State Government, Paul Bassi. According to reports, the CAF officials who visited the sporting facility gave it a pass mark as they deemed it worthy of hosting the continent's biggest interclub competition final. This is the third time the finals of the competition will be played in a single final format as opposed to a two-legged fixtures format, which was being used in the competition since 1966. The first one-legged final was played at the Cairo International Stadium in Egypt, while the 2021 edition took place at the Stade Mohammed V in Morocco. Away from CAF matters now, telling you that South Africa has been crowned Africa Women's Rugby Sevens champions on Saturday in Tunisia with a thin 14-15 win over Madagascar, giving them free tickets to July's Commonwealth Games in Bayham. With South Africa having automatically qualified for September's Rugby Sevens World Cup as host, it means runners-up Madagascar earned a place at the global event. It will be a first ever appearance for Madagascar at the Rugby Sevens World Cup, while South Africa have played all three previous women's tournaments with the best finish of fourth at the inaugural event in 2009. Everton boosted their hopes of Premier League survival as Richarlison's second-half strike and a string of fine saves from Jordan Pickford secured a crucial 1-0 victory over Chelsea at Goodison Park. Following Burnley's comeback victory against Watford on Saturday, the pressure was firmly on Frank Lampard's side, and the importance of the game was shown by the scenes around the ground before kick-off as Everton fans lined the streets to greet their side's arrival. The electric atmosphere continued inside Goodison Park, and after a goalless first half in which Everton had the better of the play, they eventually broke the deadlock very early after the breakthrough Richarlison's strike in the 46th minute impressed Frank Lampard. The results of the game, however, made Thomas Tuchel an unhappy man and his side's brilliant dominance, but we are unable to secure all 3 points. And that's your sport news on Africa Today. I'm Richard Badung. Over to Peace for the rest of the stories.
My name is Joel Idajile, the winner of Naija Box Factor Season 1. I just want to say I'm so excited because, wow, this is a very big thing that has happened to me. And concerning this Season 2 that is coming, I'm just telling you, those that are going to be competing, bring in your A game. This is not something you come casually. Come with your A game, come for it. And Season 2 is up. Those of you that didn't enroll, I'm sorry, you have missed out big time. You scammed yourself. You think they were trying to scam.
Welcome back. Sultan of Sokoto and President General, Nigerian Supreme Council of Islamic Affairs, Muhammad Sa'ad Abubakar, has accepted the report of the Advisory Committee on Religious Affairs Sultanate Council and accordingly declared today as Eid al-Fitr. The Sultan also declared May 1, 2022 as Ramadan 1443 AH. The development was contained in a statement by the Chairman Advisory Committee on Religious Affairs Sultanate Council and Waziri of Sokoto, Sambo Junaid. According to the statement, the committee, in conjunction with the National Moon Committee, has not received any report of sighting the crescent moon of Shawwal 1443 AH across the country. It added that the Sultan felicitates with Nigerian Muslims on Eid al-Fitr and called for more prayers for Allah's guidance and acceptance of all the ibadat observed in the month of Ramadan. Sultan Sa'ad also urged Muslims to use the occasion of Eid al-Fitr to continue to pray for peace and development of the country, especially at this moment that the nation is approaching the forthcoming 2023 general elections. And that's Africa Today. But before we go, here are the headlines again. We told you that Buhari has approved a naval base for Oguta in Imo State. The West African force claimed rebels were killed in Lake Chad. From Tunisia, the president has planned to rewrite constitution. And on sports news, Falcon is to face